One of the most significant threats to First Nations lives across Canada is not something that you'll see in the news or on social media on a regular basis. That issue is fire protection. According to statistics provided by Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada, people living on a First Nation are 10 times more likely to die in a house fire than any other place in Canada. There are many reasons for these staggering statistics, and at times the problems can seem overwhelming. Recognizing this, numerous fire service professionals and other stakeholders such as Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada, the Aboriginal Firefighters Association of Canada, the Ontario Native Firefighter Society, and the National Fire Protection Association have met numerous times. It was identified that early notification of fire through the use of smoke alarms has the ability to greatly reduce First Nations fire-related deaths. As you will see in this video, even if you are serviced by the most well-trained fire service in the world, you only have minutes to react to escape a fire.
Even though the firefighters arrived within 3 minutes of receiving the call, the fire claimed the life of a 5-year-old boy. This needless tragedy devastated not only the family, but also friends, firefighters, and the entire community. What we've learned from this recreation, we'd like to share with you. It could save your life, or the lives of your loved ones. This reenactment clearly demonstrates how little time you may have to escape a fire in your home. It drives home a very important message. You must take responsibility for your own fire safety. As you are about to see, you may have less than 1 minute to safely escape a fire in your home.
As lead investigator of this fatal fire, I determined the movements of the family. I also considered the amount of time for them to exit the dwelling. The building consisted of 2 semi-detached homes divided by a cinder block wall. Other than some very minor smoke damage, the adjoining home was intact. Permission to burn the adjoining home provided us with the unique opportunity to recreate this fire in almost identical conditions. We prepared the adjoining home to ensure the furnishings, temperature, and conditions reflected those in the destroyed home at the time of the fire. We then set up a fire simulation to test our theory that the fire had started in the wicker chair. But more importantly, it provided an opportunity to test the effectiveness of smoke alarms and the importance of home fire escape planning. In the destroyed home, there was only 1 smoke alarm located in the hall outside the sleeping area on the 2nd floor. For this reenactment, we installed smoke alarms on both the ground floor and the 2nd floor. We believe that the mother and the 3-year-old boy came down the stairs and exited the building, followed by the father and the 5-year-old. It's quite likely that the older boy became afraid of the fire and ran back upstairs. It's not uncommon for a child to react that way, which reinforces the need to hold on to your children and to assist them out of the home. We estimate it took 30 seconds to escape the dwelling after the activation of the 2nd floor smoke alarm. That's a critical moment because when the family opened the door and exited the dwelling, the door stayed open and provided oxygen to the growing fire. What you are seeing now is the alcove area in the living room of the simulation home. The kitchen is on the right side of the frame and the front door is on the left. A fire is being ignited on the wicker chair, which was determined to be the point of origin of the fire. The equipment hanging from the ceiling are the heat sensors installed to monitor the temperature of the room at various levels. The smoke is now pouring from the ignition point and a small flame is developing. The wicker chair is now burning. The ground floor smoke alarm activates. Remember, there was no ground floor smoke alarm in the actual fire. The fire is still in its early stages, but you can see that the toxic smoke layers are already beginning to accumulate at the ceiling level. If the occupants were alerted to the fire at this point, they would have had more time to safely escape. In a fire, every second counts. There is no time to spare. The smoke alarm on the 2nd floor now activates. This is the alarm the family heard. At this stage, they are getting out of bed, gathering their children, and preparing to escape. These are the fire conditions that the family would have faced as they came down the stairs. At this point, the temperature in the room at the shoulder level is approximately 40 degrees Celsius. Watch closely what happens to the fire conditions when the front door opens and more oxygen is introduced into the room. At this stage, we believe the mother and 3-year-old are now exiting the front door. In the confusion of the growing fire, the father and older boy became separated, and the father barely escaped with his life. Unfortunately, the child had run back up the stairs and perished in the fire. Within 30 seconds of the door opening, the temperature on the first and second floors soared to over 700 degrees Celsius. The fire is spreading rapidly throughout the room as flaming paint is dropping onto the furnishings. The room is rapidly approaching its peak temperature of 900 degrees Celsius. All of the materials in the room are now burning, and in less than 3 minutes, we have reached flashover conditions. No one can possibly survive these conditions. You can hear the front window shattering. These are the conditions that the firefighters faced as they entered the burning building in attempts to rescue the young victim. Investigators from the Office of the Fire Marshal face these types of cases on a daily basis. The investigation of any fire fatality is never routine. However, the circumstances involving the death of a child are always tragic.
Simply put, smoke alarms save lives. They're easy to install and very easy to maintain. Coupled with a well-practiced fire escape plan, including educating and assisting the elderly and children, you have the ability to greatly reduce fire-related deaths in your community. For more information, contact your local council or fire service.